one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, hopefully everybody can hear me, and if you can't hear me, obviously you can't answer. So, and there we go. So, most people, excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. So, one of the things I want to talk about today is I have expanded the hybrids and the Paragons. Okay. And the new row will be coming out soon. We're working on it. And then you'll see it in black and white at that point. But I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. As far as, let's start with the hybrids. Okay. Everyone knows that a hybrid is is two or more classes that have been combined on a basic level. That they have, like a bard. Okay. Bard is basically a combination of druid, mage, and rogue, essentially. Okay. Ranger medic is basically a combination of rogue, warrior, and a little bit of priest or druid, to be more precise. Unlike Paragons, which are two full classes that are combined and make a third class, and you keep the abilities of both classes once you hit Paragon. A hybrid is in its own class already. Like I just said, Bard and Ranger Medic are perfect examples of that. Okay. So some of you are familiar with the Metallica. All right. And some of you have actually fought them in GA battles over time, because they do invariably appear. Mm-hmm. Metallica are a living metal race that are powered by a soul built originally by the dwarves and gnomes under the mind control of the Illithid about 200,000 years ago during the Spider Squid Wars to fight against the Duck Alfar. The Illithid were not doing as well as they would want. So they decided to mind slave the dwarves, the deep dwarves, and the gnomes, the deep gnomes, and build a warrior race, stormtroopers, for lack of a better word, except with much better aim. And with that said, not all Metallica are bad. Yes, originally they are weapons, but there have been a few defectors, because the last battle they had with us, the last huge battle, which was a few years ago, with the Black Gate series, their connection to its Hamaru was severed. And so some of them chose to become good guys. All right. And when that happened, yes, some of them went off on their own and formed their own platoons elsewhere in the universe. And some of them defected to our side. Okay. One of those is XJ9. Let me pull up his full name here. X XJ9 2170. One of those, excuse me, one of those is XJ9. He is a ranger. Technically, he's among the rangers in the Silvaran Ranger Guild. All right. So, with that being said, the reason all of that was led up is because when he defected, he, through a great deal of conversation and discussion, and his willingness to aid and assist, he gave 4 new hybrid classes. They're the hybrid classes of the Metallica, and then they have been converted so that they could be utilized for the GA. Okay? These 4 new classes, hybrid classes, are Spell Hunter, which is a hybrid class between a mage and a rogue. Okay. Arsonist, which is a hybrid class between a druid and a mage, elementalist specifically. And my apologies. Crusher. Yeah, arsonist is one of them. Yes. Crusher, which is a combination between warrior and rogue. And one more. My brain's escaping me right this moment. Razor blade. Thank you. I knew that there are a few of you out there I talked about that with. And razor blade, which is which is a druid rogue combination. That's right. Okay. So those 4 new hybrids are being added to the GA as potential base classes that people can be. Okay. And when you look at them, you can see just by their names basically what they do, and that's how the Metallica function. Is that their class names fit exactly what they do. as you just saw Trinity say, Crusher is a tank. It's designed specifically. No, they were. This is exactly where I'm going. These are from the Metallica, but they are now classes that have been transferred over to the GA. They have been learned from XJ9. And that is true. So I will teach whoever wants to teach these classes, I will teach them. And then that person will start teaching others. Yeah, Spell Hunter will fit under Arcane Warriors quite well. Okay. Crusher will fit under Warriors really well. So anybody who's teaching Warriors, you can come talk to me and I will tell you more about how to teach that class. Arsonist could be taught by either priest or mage. Okay. And Razorblade would best be taught like you said, it's mage rogue. So you want to take some, mage classes for sure, but you also need to know how rogues run. So either a rogue or a mage could teach that class, but in the long run, you would probably want a mage teaching it. You might want to fit it into your mage school somewhere. But these four have a great deal of potential. Okay. And for the Metallica, they're based on the four elements. Okay. Druid Mage. Arsonist is based on Druid Mage. It's an elemental fire. Yes. And Razorblade is Rogue Druid. Yes. Priest teaching it because clerics, shaman, and druids are all priests. Arsonist is fire. That is correct. The elements that these four are based on. Arsonist is obviously fire. Crusher is earth. Razorblade is air. And Spell Hunter is water. That is the elements that these four classes are based on. Okay? For the Metallica. So some of that is going to transition over. One of the interesting things about Rogue, about the Razorblade, is that they have been taught how to make their hands into daggers. Now, for those of you that can't actually shapeshift, which is most people, then that is metaphorical. They basically teach knife hand so that you can cut. Yes, there'll be no cuts. It's going to be in a new row. Okay? So you'll be able to cut things with your bare hands, even though your hand still looks like a hand. Okay? Yep. Argo, Nif, and Echo have been taught by XJ9, and they are going to be have extra knowledge on this subject. because they got it directly from XG9. Yes, knife hand like the traditional monk skill. This will be row 8. We have row 8. So we jump forward to 8 because there was so many updates in 6. Okay? That rather than, and there was a huge, and there's a huge change because it also includes the new meter update. Okay. Yeah, everyone has seen 7. It's just they didn't see the names because it came up because there was 6 and then 6.1, the 6.2, 6.3, 6.4. And rather than go 6.7 and et cetera, I just said, you know what? We're jumping all the way to 8 because Maxim is going to be included in this. Okay. Yes, Jaluk Dark Watch, absolutely. Your current training can be included. So, example, if you're already a mage of level 4, and you want to, you're like, I really like the idea of Spell Hunter. Well, all of your current skills will still can be adapted over into it. But like you said, hybrids are only partially a single class, just like Ranger Medic or a Bard. Okay, a Bard is your traditional jack of all trades, master of none. They can do lots of things. Okay, lots of different things, but they lose some. You know, a Bard cannot teleport, even though they have mage in them. Okay, example. That's a good example right there. A Bard cannot teleport, even though they have some mage training, because they're a hybrid, and that stays in the mage. That's right. That's exactly just like our arcane warriors. Arcane warriors cannot teleport. You know, so it gives you some idea about. Razorblade is more. Oh, Razorblade is a rogue mage. It's a rogue druid. Razorblade is a rogue druid because they get the innate ability to fly, levitate. Okay, they learn how to fly. A significant difference. Okay, first off, an elementalist and a druid both can have fire. Okay, an elementalist is a mage that uses the elements to do their thing, whereas a druid beseeches the elements to do their thing. Okay, an arsonist combines both divine and arcane magic, similar to a sage. Okay, but obviously, whereas a sage is a paragon and it's all the way up there, an arsonist is not a paragon. So they put oil and water together. They braid it together like a rope to do their thing. Okay. So how are they different? How is an arsonist different than an elementalist? An elementalist uses arcane magic only. Okay. an arsonist uses divine and arcane magic. They do this a lot of the same things as an elementalist. They are basically the mortars and the long range attack form for the Metallica, but they have braided together divine and arcane magics. Okay, to do basically the same thing that our elementalist might do. But whereas an elementalist can gain firewalk, an arsonist can never do that. Okay, Metallica do not have teleports. Now they can get rush abilities. Okay, so that they can move. They can charge across the battlefield quickly and smack you upside the head with their, with their whatevers. In case of a Metallica, it's big metal fists. But, in the case of a standard player, it still fits across the thing. Like the Ranger ability, there's a Ranger ability that makes it so that you can rush across the battlefield real fast. Quick step. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Ranger Sharp Claws. That ability is shared inside some of the Metallicite types. Okay, just like charge for warriors is given to Crusher. Crusher does have charge. Okay, and quick step is Spell Hunter still has quick step. Okay, and I know you're thinking, well, Spell Hunter is rogue mage. How do they get quick step? Well, Spell Hunter is water. It flows. Okay, so they're flowing towards you. Okay, in a manner of speaking. Okay. I also want to talk about a couple new Paragons, but let me not stop here, but let me give you the opportunity to ask questions. Because, that's some significant events that are just dropped on you guys. Well, as far as Rangers go, Ranger already has a new hybrid. I mean, already has Ranger Medic as a hybrid. And Ranger itself is already a hybrid. Yes, exactly. Yes, Ranger is a warrior rogue hybrid already. Okay. So giving it an extra hybrid would be, it's a warrior rogue hybrid, and it has Ranger Medic, which is warrior rogue druid hybrid. So, Spell Hunter is so we've got okay, hold on one second. There we go. Yes, Spell Hunter is Rogue Mage. And then you've got Razor Blade that is Rogue Mage. Razor Blade is Druid Rogue. Okay. Razor Blade is Druid Rogue. Spell Hunter is Mage Rogue. Yeah, hybrids have their own functionality, just like Ranger's a perfect example. Yes, Crusher is warrior ranger, is warrior and ranger medic. Or you can say that it's warrior and monk. Warrior and mystic, maybe, because it's a warrior with self heals. Okay, they cannot heal anybody else, so I'm not sure that ranger medic would be was is correct exactly. It only has self heals, you know. So maybe warrior and mystic would be a better definition of them. They are very tanky. Okay, and they are the earth based ones. And then of course, arsonist, which a few questions have come up that they are your artillery. They are the metallicized artillery. So those are the four types of metallici, and they have been translated into non-metallici terms so that non-metallici can learn and has potential to be any of those four. Okay. Okay. So if I do realize that that's a lot to swallow. Okay, again, no problem. I'll answer the question again. They come from the Metallica, but any race can now get them because XJ9 has taught Black Magister Rotaro, Red Magister Argoland, and Magister Apprentice Eval how to translate them over. Between the four of them, they sit down and figured out how do non-metallici, how can we use this for non-metallici? Okay? So, I'm going to throw out a few new Paragons. Okay? One of those is Nightborn. Okay? Nightborn is a Cavalier Rogue combination. Okay? And so with a K, as in knight. Okay? You're and so and then so Nightborn with a K here, and then you have Nightwing with no K. And this one is a Thaumaturge Rogue. Okay? So rogues are and all the rogue subtypes, rangers you fit under here too, by the way. Have two new paragons that they can reach out for. Yes, similar to Mage Hunter, except for generally speaking, most Mage Hunters are more magical, or they're very magical beasties. Whereas in the case of a Nightwing, for example, Nightwing is a thaumaturge rogue combination. So they are more like mystics, okay? In the fact that they can self heal and um, do things like walk through walls and absorb energy from the moon and the sun and the universe. Yep, yep, exactly. And they can take throwing weapons and power them up. You know, shuriken, playing cards for those of you who like Gambit. Anyone who is an X-Men fan out there? Okay, good example of yes. There you go. Good example. And there you go. That's a nice thing to exactly. So Thaumaturge Rogue, you know, they can power up things like that, like Gambit and stuff. And they get self heals, and they can do things like walk through walls. Okay. And obviously, climb walls, like any other rogue. But those are some things that make them relatively unique. And yeah, they'll probably fall under Arcane Warriors as far as the Paragon teaching. But this is a Paragon, okay? The other Paragon that I mentioned is Nightborn, okay? And I have to write this because I like the interest. I like the interest and visuals between the two, because both of them, you say, well, they're both night. Well, yes, but one of them is night as in the dark, and the other one's night as in the dude in armor. So, Nightborn is a cross between rogue and cavalier. You're like, those couldn't be that much different. And cavalier and a rogue, how is that even possible? Well, it sincerely is, because they're not all. Yes, good example. Not Zorro is the perfect smart man. Right up, you picking my brain here. I love it. Zorro is the perfect example of a Nightborn. Okay, and so think in that terms when you're thinking about what a Nightborn is. Well, Zorro is a perfect example. Or there's a pretty cult classic movie, and you might be familiar. My name is Indigo Montoya. To kill my father, prepare to die. Anybody know what movie that is? Doon, 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 doon. That's right. Okay. So, that guy, Indigo Montoya, he is a Nightborn. Okay? So, all right. So they don't typically run around in heavy armor, do they? That's just not really, because you can't move so fast when you're in it. But, they get the horse that they can talk to, and yeah, of course, anybody can talk to their horse. But the thing is that cavaliers or horses can talk back and they understand it. Just like anybody can talk to trees, But it takes a druid to understand what they're saying, that they can talk back. Yep, it's good. Yeah. So that gives you some concepts of what a Nightborn is. Okay. So on one hand, you got a Nightwing, all right, which is a rogue that self heals, walks the walls, and throws playing cards like Gambit. Okay. And on the other hand, you got Zorro. Okay. So two definitely effective role playable paragons, you know, that you already see there, right there. Let me see here. And I have one more to throw out to you. And it is also, as you might have guessed, I was looking at the rogues and realized that, looking at the paragons and realized that rogues didn't get a whole lot of love, and that does include you ranger types, because you're a hybrid, but that means that you get both. You get to play with the warrior paragons and the rogue paragons, and bards. Yeah, same with bards. You got 3 different directions you can go. But that's the thing about being a hybrid. As a hybrid, you get your paragon choices double. Okay. They do have all of those. Yes. But also consider the fact that everything that a warrior can switch over into, so can a ranger. Everything that a rogue can switch over to, so can a ranger. Okay? So it's really expansive. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes. Rangers have a vast array of paragon choices. And Ranger Medic has every single one except Mage. So if you are a Ranger Medic and then you pick up Mage as your second class, once you finally get up there and you decide to do it, then you have every choice that exists. you know, that is every single possible paragon. If you're a Ranger Medic and a Mage, there every single possible choice is yours. Yeah, rogues have Warden. So the last one that I wanted to mention, the last one that I wanted to mention is a rogue mystic. Okay. And this one is called shade. Okay. And a rogue mystic, as you can obviously tell, is a paragon of self-healing, a self-healing rogue. Okay. And since the mystic is designed for learning about themselves, how to mend their own body, how to um, harden their body. That is for those of you that are old school D&D, the monk class is the mystics for us. Okay, so you combine a mystic with a rogue, you basically have your ninjas. Okay, your traditional, like, in TV shows and cartoons and stuff, your ninjas, they go poof, and all that jazz. Like, yep, Naruto. That that is a rogue mystic. Nightcrawler is awesome. I think that he would actually be Nightborn with the special ability of teleport, because that's his mutant ability is teleportation. But you know, but Naruto fits in quite well, and actually some of the others do. But so here you're looking at a self-healing martial artist rogue. Maeve is a samurai. So now she probably would do Naruto cosplay if you really asked her to, but she's a samurai, not a ninja. this this one is more of the sneaky type. Okay, more like these are more the ninja type, whereas you know samurai are they stand in front of you and smack you upside the head constantly over and over and over again. You know, and they self heal while they're doing it. Okay, and that is like that's more the samurai type. Okay, mystic is the is your traditional D&D monk. Okay, and then we're in this particular case the shade. You are combining mystic with rogue, so you kind of get you get what your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half Shell, turtle style. The bad guys, especially on that show. The Foot. Of course, they're incompetent because they're supposed to be the bad guys. It's a cartoon, but that is what we're talking about. They're more like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about like the ones that crawl up side of the wall. You can see them clinging up like Spider-Man, and then and they're up there and they heal themselves, and then they jump down on top of you and stab you in the head without you seeing it. Okay, so a shade are more of the ninja types. Okay. So does that make sense? So rogues just got 3 new paragons. Okay. So they've some love has been added. And do remember, that, the 4 base types, everybody falls under somewhere under the 4 base types. What are the 4 base types, people? 4 base class types. Rogue. Yep, there we go. That's exactly. Rogue, warrior, mage, cleric. Mage, priest. Okay. But you're very, very, very close. Warrior, rogue, mage, and priest. And everything falls under there. Okay. Hybrids fall under more than one place. Bard falls under 3 of those 4 places. Okay. Ranger medic falls under 3 of those 4 places. Okay. And they happen to be different than bard. So that's pretty convenient. So if you choose, if you're if you're ranger medic and bard, you also touch every single possible paragon there is too. Yes. If you're a hybrid, okay, as your base, then you have multiple choices of when you get to and choose to do, if you choose to do paragon, it opens up more doors. Okay. All right. It's like, okay, we're just talking about Maevi being a samurai. But samurai is mystic and warrior. Okay. So if you're a mystic and a warrior, that's mystic falls under mage. So if you want to have full scale everything, then you'd want to add rogue and priest to you, and then you'd have 4. You'd have all 4, and your paragon choices are anything. Okay. That's just something to throw out there. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't, because your choices should be your choices, and it should be yours. But your role play is yours. How you want to roll is how you want to roll. That's just some nuts and bolts information. But long story short, Ranger, your hybrids have a broader possible paragon direction to go. Okay, so any questions about those 3 rogue paragons that I talked about? I talked about rogue cavalier, I talked about rogue mystic, and I talked about rogue thaumaturge. Any questions about those? Everybody's copacetic. All of those make sense, right? Okay. Yes, my apologies. I know that sometimes I drop like a million pieces of information all at once, and it's sometimes so much information that trying to swallow it all is like, you know, um, or a whole potato instead of one that's been turned into French fries. Okay. Yeah, drinking from pyros. That's a good one too. So, but all of this will be on paper. Okay. Those 7 classes, the 4 hybrids, and the 3 paragons will be added into the new row. Okay. But those that actually attend my row classes always have a preview. They always have a slight advantage over everyone else because number one, you get to ask me questions directly, and number 2 is I generally put out information here long before it gets out to the general public. All right. Now, no one has asked this, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it anyway. Rangers who have a companion, when they go Paragon, they get to keep their companion. They don't lose that companion. Okay? Just no one has actually asked that, but I thought that I would throw that out there. Just in case it ever gets asked. Okay. And yes, exactly. Thank you for bringing that up. Same with mages or druids or shaman. Your familiars or your totem animals or your companions or your wardens, in case of priests, you get to keep those. Okay? And absolutely you get to keep your gadgets. Okay? You don't lose those just because you're working on your Paragon training. Okay? As far as when you're training on your second class, you can't use the HUD of your first class. But that doesn't stop you from being able to keep, Billy Bob, your grizzly bear that you got as a companion. He still comes with you. Okay? And so you still have a big old bear. Okay? Even though you're working, let's say you're, because I keep messing with Ranger Medic. Let's say you're Ranger Medic, and your companion is Billy Bob the brown bear, right? And then you decide, I want to add mage to my toolbox. Well, Billy Bob the brown bear does not suddenly poof. Okay, now that you're training on mage, he still comes with you. Okay, he may get a slight accent, but you get the idea. You don't lose that just because you are working on something else. Does that help? Does that make people understand a little bit more? Excellent question. And the answer is yes. that ranger medic that's working on mage, if he learns the find familiar spell, which not everybody does, but let's say that he does, okay, then he not only has Billy Bob the Brown Bear, but he's also got um, Bobby Sue the rabbit. Okay, and so that individual who's a ranger medic that went mage has two pets. Well, that's part of find familiar. That's a spell. Okay, in order to cast that spell, you have to find familiar is a ritual spell. Okay, so yes, the answer is yes. But if they want to make Billy Bob their companion and their familiar, I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. Except for familiars get magic powers and companions don't. So maybe you might want to do that. Suddenly Billy Bob is now a flaming bear because they became the familiar. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, in which case you would want to cast find familiar on your bear. But otherwise, yes, find familiar is a ritual spell. Okay. Does that answer your question? Truth. A ranger mage, the Paragon would be very powerful. On the battlefield. That's very, very true. Is it the only one? I can't say off the top of my head that it is. There might be more, but it's the only one I can think of. Balados for your attendance, Red Magister. I won't be doing this too much longer. I just want to give, I'm not sure what level off the top of my head Find Familiar is done, but it is a ritual spell. Balados for your attendance, Mage Starbinder. Enjoy your day. And again, I won't be doing this much longer. I'm just giving people a chance to ask questions and answer. Because I have thrown out massive amounts of information and people are starting. You guys are starting to swallow the information or understanding that there are questions you have. And I know there will be new ones. That's correct. Nifredella just told you. There will not be new additional Perwins and all that jazz. That is one of the reasons we are moving forward with the other HUDs with Maxim is because our old HUD designer poofed. Okay, some of you may remember him. His name was Malik. Okay, Malik Freeman, and he has not been in SL for like 5 years. So Oh yes, you know he does. So one of these days he's going to log back in and go, "Wow," because we keep, you know, over a 5 year period of time, you have, and just the GA alone, that's more than zero people. We are doing both, Jilla McTavish. We are using his spells and we are adding new ones. Okay? Because one of the beautiful things about Maxim, about the spell casting in this system, is that you get to pick and choose your spells. All right? You can look through there and say, okay, I want this direct damage spell. I want this AE spell. I want this and that and this. Yeah, exactly. You get to choose your stuff, okay, that goes with your character. Now, we're obviously not gonna say, all right, you can't use every single AE. That's just not. That's gonna be illegal. But it'll be like, all right, you get to pick an AE here. You get to pick a direct damage here. You get to pick your ability here, climb walls or whatever it is. All of those things, it's far more. Yeah, there will be a list by class. Um, it's far more individualistic. That's something that I've actually been working on for years and years and years and years. We have had a few designers try to do it. That's exactly correct. Not everyone, as opposed to current, not everyone will have the same abilities. Okay. Like one person may have pass without trace. Okay. And the other person um, may have fire arrow. Okay. You're it will be a choice. What he's trying to tell you is that as we develop new spells, they will be made available. Okay, it may not work for you. You may like what you got, and you don't need any new ones, and that's all good. That's fine. But other people will be like, "Oh, I've been waiting on this one. I've always wanted a crossbow grappling hook. Now that its ability exists, I can shoot my crossbow and zoom up there like Batman. Always wanted to do that. Well, you know, let's say that becomes a possibility. It's something I have been looking at, been trying to do for years and years and years. Especially, for my Blood Knights and some of the Paragon types like Vigilante. And the leads will constantly, they'll be updated as we have the ability to update. Okay. Leads will be the second people who get information. Obviously, I'll get information and the conclave will get information, and then we'll pass it on to the leads from there. And then the leads will be responsible for talking to your own people. Yes, we'll put out notices and things like that, of course. But as far everybody knows that word of mouth, boots on the ground is better. Okay. So you guild leads, And like we suddenly tell you, okay, we've added this ability, and this ability to your class type. Um, it's up to you to tell your people. I mean, yeah, we'll put out notices, but as a guild lead, take that upon yourself and make sure your peoples know. Okay? Yes, we're not there yet. I'm just giving you guys some thoughts to think about. Okay? And giving you some realization that Maxim, the way we're doing it, is going to be not cookie cutter HUDs. Yes, that, I know it's we hit a wall, but we have decided to break down that wall, and crush it up, and use all the wall bricks to make a sidewalk instead. So you'll be golden. Sometimes that's what you got to do when you hit walls. You know. Okay. File door. Any questions about anything we've talked about today? The 3 new rogue paragons, the 4 new hybrids, the plug and play spell system, what you lose and what you don't lose when you switch from when you work on a paragon. I know we've talked about all of those things. So if you have any questions about those, you have me in front of you. This is your opportunity to ask. Cool. I am glad. That's a good thing. Because what we do, we try to move forward. The row is a living document for that reason. If you carve your edicts in stone, then you end up like my pyramid here. You know, it's a thing of the past. Whereas if you write it on paper, you can erase and add. Okay. So, Jean-Luc McIntyre, you say you're confused about something. Yes, Jean-Luc Lycan. Growth and progress. That is what we hope and what we try to do moving forward. You know, if you're not moving forward, you're moving back. Is my thoughts. Yes, he has this recorded, so if you feel the need, just watch it a few times. And if you end up having questions, which invariably you will as you digest all this information, bring those questions to any conclave member, and they will bring it to me. Okay, if they don't, they might know the answer, and if they don't know the answer, they will come to me. All of my conclave members can contact me outside of this world. Okay, every one of them has the ability to contact me outside of the world, and I will answer them, and they will get back to you. Okay. There was a female dwarf that I was going to talk to. I don't know if she's around. A yeah, name's escaping me right now. But I have um, a role play that I've been looking for a female dwarf for a long time, and I just can't remember her name because I haven't met her yet. But ultimately, this individual will be getting Maxwell's silver hammer. And it's a smith. It's a female dwarf smith. So if you know a female dwarf smith, then have them give me a call, and we will chat and take it from there. All right, that's perfectly fine. I've rambled long enough. Belados Jal, your attendance is greatly appreciated. And once you swallow all that information that I issued forth, and if you have questions, I will certainly answer for you. Belados for your attendance. Bendaus for now.